today we're back here for another speed build, and today we're going to go ahead and create this lot called a celebrity gated community. So if you'd like to go ahead and download this for yourself, it is up on the gallery now. My origin ID is Real Thomas TV1. So this is actually a similar idea for something that I've done before, which was a build called Suburbia Estate, which was kind of just 5 suburban homes on one lot in Willow Creek, and I did that on the 50 by 50 one there. So I was kind of in the mood to do this again. I've actually had this ideas like on my list for a while, but then I kind of went on a little break after Get Famous came out, so I never really got round to it. So this is basic. I kind of just used my Suburbia Estate build as like a guide for this, because there's a lot of kind of planning that goes into these type of builds, because you've got to kind of work out, you know, how much space you're going to allocate to each lot. So that's kind of what I used my Suburbia Estate build for. And I kind of used that to base this one off, and then I kind of just changed, well, it's not like I didn't copy and paste it, so the houses are like, you know, furnished differently as well, but I also kind of, you know, just switched up the colour swatches of it as well, so it's a little bit more Mediterranean, I guess you could call it, or maybe even just like, just something that would fit better into Del Sol Valley. So that's what we're doing today. So these are, they're not like mansions, because I mean, it's on a 64 by 64, but remember there's like 5 homes in this it's not a save, on this lot. There we go. So I think it is 5 lots. Is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4? Yeah, I think it is 5. And they're kind of all a pretty similar, you know, size, I would say. I think they all have around like 2 to 3 bedrooms in them. I couldn't really fit loads in them. And then there's one at the back, which is kind of like on its own, on that like, you know, it's the third house we're doing. No, is it? No, it's not the third house we're doing. Well, I'll tell you when we get to it. So with our house, it's kind of like at the end of this road, so there wasn't really any backyard space. So what I did with that house, because it was kind of like 2 little bits of grass, like in the top left and the top right hand corner. So I kind of made those into communal areas. So one of them's kind of got like, you know, some benches and like a barbecue, and also like a pond. And then the other side is kind of like their kind of allotment, I guess you could call it. So kind of has some gardening space and some, you know, just gardening things from seasons, like the flower arrangement table and the bee boxes and stuff. And I don't know if allotment, I don't know if what, like, I think that's just a term in the UK. Maybe if in the US or something, you may not know what an allotment is, but it's basically kind of like, sort of like a garden area with like greenhouses in them. I know, like, it's similar to where I live. We actually have like an allotment for our area as well, like I should call it, like our estate. So it's like you can, you know, get your own greenhouse, and like, you know, some of the neighbours have them. We don't actually have one, but you know, the option's there though. So this is kind of the same, where the, you know, the neighbours and the people who live in these houses can use that little space to garden in, because that kind of leads back to what I was saying about that lot in the middle, is that it doesn't really have a garden space. So I kind of wanted to have them, you know, be able to do something. And then also as well, some lots do have their own garage space. The one on the right, which is the second one we're going to be working on shortly next to this one, has its own garage, but some of them were kind of in a position where it wouldn't really work, but I think 2 out of 5 of them do have a garage. And they are kind of like separate to the house as well. And then what I did with those garages is I actually changed them into a gym, because there wasn't really the space for it in the main part of the house, but it is a good use of the space. And if you've seen my speed builds before, you know that's what I tend to do with garages, because there isn't really any other use for them. And it is something that people do in real life, is put like, you know, gym equipment and stuff in them. So that's what I did with those. And yeah, so you can say that we're kind of, I'm showing you like all the floor planning of this build and stuff, which is not what I normally do. With my builds, I always take out the footage of the floor plans and go and doing the bathrooms and the wall coverings and flooring of the entire house. Well, I thought that since this build is going to be kind of repetitive, what I thought I would do is for one of the houses, being this one here, the first one, I'll just show you absolutely everything that I do for it. So there's not one single jump cut throughout this entire house here. So you can see the floor planning, me choosing out the wall coverings, doing the hallways, the bathrooms and everything. So the reason I did that was because, like I was saying, a lot of the houses are furnished the same really. There are some differences here and there, and I do include that later in the speed build, but I thought, you know what, since the majority of it is going to be pretty similar, I might cut some bits out later in the build, but at least show in the video how I did one of the houses in its, like, I can't speak, in its entirety. There we go. So that kind of may answer some questions that you have regarding some things that I don't always show such as floor planning, because sometimes it does take a while to kind of get used to it, and I always feel like having the pressure of the recording like going, I always kind of feel pressured, and I always make a mess of the floor plan. So it wasn't actually too difficult though for this home, and I do get a lot of questions about floor planning, and I was going to do a video on it, but I kind of had a look around and I realised that a lot of people have done those videos before, so I don't really want to do it again because, you know, it might not be useful to people because they've seen it before. So I don't know, but I have gave some floor planning tips in my Q&A video that I did the other week for reaching for my 3-year anniversary, so you can go ahead and check that out because I did mention a little bit in there. And then you can use this video as a guide to see how I do the flooring as well, so there's an option there. So I'm actually really happy how this turned out. It's definitely better than my Suburbia estate build. So basically, like I was saying at the start, I just used that as inspiration for this to kind of plan it out and see what I could do. But it's basically kind of like that really. Celebrities don't have to live here because, in all, you know, honestly, I don't really think celebrities would be living in this sort of like, you know, small house. I mean, in real life they probably do, but I mean in The Sims, because this is on a 64 by 64 lot, and really the houses are like 30 by 20, so it's just an idea that I wanted to do. Though I don't really think this lot is kind of that practical anyway, because we don't really have that functionality in game anyway, but it is one of those things that's kind of nice to do for something a little bit different. So we're just working on the kitchen area here, as you can see, and you know, it is pretty small, but it's, you know, it's got enough space, and there's kind of like a big sort of like, I guess you could call it a sunroom kind of in this room here with these glass roofs and the big glass windows as well, and it's kind of like the sunroom attachment, I guess you could call it, and that's where I put the dining room, and then outside in the backyard area of this particular house here, I don't think there is a pool, but I did put a hot tub in it, I think, and also like an outdoor seating area. And then some of the houses do have their own swimming pool as well, and yeah, so I'm also kind of curious to know, if you're going to use this, then what would you kind of like use it for? Do you have like a family in mind that you would be using it for? Do you have any like pictures of, you know, when you actually use my builds? That's also another thing, not just in this build, but I have had people kind of like send me pictures of like, you know, like my houses and their Sims in it and stuff. That's really, you know, nice to see, so feel free to do that. I did actually have one person do that a while ago, and they did actually have a whole blog post about it, and they're kind of like current household, but it was in my house, and it was so kind of funny to see like actual Sims in one of my houses, which sounds weird to say again, but I don't actually use my own houses. One, because I don't know why, I just don't really like building my own house. Like, well, of course, that doesn't sound right. I like building my own houses, but I don't like playing in them. And I don't really know why it is, but I'm not the only one with that, because I know a lot of builders who are like that, who don't like to use their own houses for some reason. And the other thing as well is that I don't play the game really. I always just build. I never really go into you know, live mode or anything. I just kind of do building all the time. So to see that where like actual Sims are like playing in the houses that I just like build, it's kind of interesting to see. So if you have any of those, then feel free to kind of, you know, send me them on Twitter or kind of tag me on Instagram or something. All that information is down below as always. And I did it also the other day just past 3,000 followers on Instagram as well, so thank everybody who's been following me there. I actually haven't had my Instagram for that long, but it has blown up a little bit. I wouldn't say like blown up to like, you know, like that much, but it has a little bit compared to where I was, and when you kind of, you know, consider my social following on other platforms, but it is it's a platform that I don't really think that many people from like, you know, YouTube and Twitter know about. I don't think, that sounds really weird to say, but I feel like Instagram's a little bit of its own community, if that makes sense. So if you don't follow me there, then go ahead and do that. I do post like a, you know, like a an actual post about my new builds, but I also have my story as well, which I regularly update, where I sometimes, you know, just post a video which I might not always make a, you know, a post about, or even just real life things as well. So I don't always do that on Twitter, so that's also another place you can go. And yeah, so we're just working on the backyard area like I was just talking about before, and we're just going around doing a little seating area there, and also yeah, this is where I put the hot tub too, kind of just a nice area to put one in. It wasn't really enough space for a pool. And then this is the second house that we're working on here. Now, as you saw, we've kind of jumped ahead a little bit there with that house, just because I've shown you that first house from start to finish. So, you know, from now on, these next few little houses will have jump cuts here and there, where it's maybe a repetitive part or something that's taken me a while to figure out. So you can see there how we've got the garage, and you might have seen me just there trying to figure out how to kind of get the garage to attach to the house without, you know, because there's not like a split level actual feature in game. There is a workaround, you know, pretty sure that everybody's seen Kate Emerald's tutorial on that, and I did try to follow it, but for some reason, of course, being me, it wouldn't really work out, so I'm going to have to try and play around with that a little bit more. So I just went ahead and kept it separate and kind of just made a pathway and a door towards it, and then, like I said, in that garage area, I do go ahead and decorate that shortly on camera, I think. We'll go ahead and put like some workout equipment and also a little seating area in there, and actually it turns out to be a really nice room. So, because of this garage, we did go ahead and put a car on the driveway there. Now, I didn't put cars on all the driveways because, well, not all of them had a garage. I put cars on the ones that had garages, but then for the other kind of, like on the street as well, I think I put some like on the sides, like if it's like parallel parked in front of the house or something, and also some going up and down the road as well. And yeah, so this is kind of like the awkward house, I would say, because it's kind of like in that position where it's not got really any backyard space. I couldn't really do that, so I could have done a space at the side, but what I ended up doing was just making a really big kind of porchway on this house, and then they do have the communal areas like I was talking about at the beginning, being the kind of barbecue seating areas on the left hand side, and then the garden allotment space on the right. And I think that this house, though, considering it has its downsides, does have the best view because it's kind of like right against the back here looking over Del Sol Valley. Because I didn't mention this, well, I sort of mentioned it. It's in Del Sol Valley, but it's on the 64x64 lot at the top, in the pinnacles, so that's where I placed it. But of course, you can place it wherever you want. It's just kind of, you know, designed for Del Sol Valley. I don't really think it would look right in the middle of Windenburg, but, you know, if you want to place it there, then that's fine. Anyway, so we're just going around here kind of finishing this porchway. Now, I don't know about you, but I always find porchways and you know, just little exterior spaces like on well, yeah, portraits, I suppose, but, you know, those bigger ones as well, I always find them really hard to decorate. Like, I don't know why, but I always do. So a lot of the time I do leave, like, you know, the entranceways of homes and stuff blank. Sometimes I might put, like, a little outdoor seat in a plant and stuff, but it always kind of looks bad, and I never really know what to do with it. But also as well, that kind of leads on to what I was going to say, is that these homes aren't that cluttered. I kept them fairly neutral. Again, like I always do, I've mentioned this a million and one times now, but I never really do kids' rooms. I always just keep them fairly neutral so you can fit really any type of sim family towards that house. But for this as well, I kind of wanted to keep it more on the simple side in terms of clutter as well, because, well, first of all, I don't really use clutter as well, but I didn't really want to do it in this house either because I kind of wanted to make it like a ready to move in sort of thing. So these houses aren't really kind of like lived in yet. It's like a brand new estate that people are going to be moving into, so that's what you can do there. So, we're just working on this next house here, and I did this, well, this entire build took me about like 2.5 hours, I would say, which is really no time at all, but because it is so short is because I didn't really do the clutter thing that I was just talking about, and I spread it over 2 days. I started it on the 3rd of January at like, wait, what was it? At like midday, and I worked on it like for maybe like an hour, yeah, about an hour, and then I came back the next day on the 4th and finished it off. And this is going up on the 13th, I think. I can't exactly remember. I'm doing this voiceover on the 9th, which I know is a few days early. I kind of got a chance now to do the voiceover, so I'm just going to get it done. And yeah, so this is the second house that we're just working on there, which has the secondary garage. And what I did actually do though, to keep it kind of sort of consistent, is that I did copy and paste over that garage room, so to just have the same finish in there into this second house here. So we're just going around doing the structure of this house. I do actually think I finished off doing all the structures first. I decorated and like, well, so for some of them I kind of built it and then I went straight into decorate it at the same time, and then for these last couple I kind of did all the structures of them and then came back afterwards and then went ahead and decorated them all, just to kind of switch it up a little bit and just what I was in the mood to do, really. Because these type of builds are very repetitive. It's a little bit painful sometimes when you have to do like 5 kitchens in a row or something. But yeah, so also in terms of bedrooms and bathroom numbers, there isn't really a specific amount, because, you know, the gallery just classes it as one, like one build. So I just selected 9 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms. I presume it would have that many, but I'm not just too sure on the exact number of it. And yeah, so we're just working on getting, you know, more of the structure done on this house here, doing a little bit of the interior, and as you can see, a lot of plain walls as well, just to kind of keep it more simple and kind of go along with that, you know, feel of it being a brand new estate. And yeah, so this is one of the living rooms. Actually, the thing is, with this build, it's kind of like a cross between a suburban and modern feel, I would say, because there's a lot of like, you know, some modern furniture, but when you go back and look at that, you know, living room that we're just working on there a couple of seconds ago, I would say it has more of like a cozy traditional feel to it. So it's kind of got a cross between the two, which, you know, is what I normally do. I don't really think it's a bad thing. It's just something that I did for today's build. And yeah, so we're nearing the end of the build here. We've still got like, you know, about 2 minutes left, and this build, actually, this length of this video is actually kind of on the longer side for me. I never really go up like, well, this video is around like 18 minutes, I think it is, which is normally like my maximum, I would say. I never really go above 20 minutes, like rarely ever really. And you know, sometimes it's kind of a challenge though, because with these bigger builds, sometimes you want to kind of show more, but you have to be a little bit sort of I don't really know what's the word, like a bit decisive, I guess you could call it, of what to take out and what to keep in the video. And it was a little bit easier for this build though, because a lot of it is repetitive, so, you know, I wasn't going to show you like, you know, 5 kitchens of the same type, if that makes sense. But, you know, let me know what you think about in terms of video length. Is this video length okay? Is it too long? Most of my videos recently have been around 15 minutes. I don't like to make them over that length of time, because nobody really kind of stays around that long. I know some of you do, and thank you who, you know, do stick around that long, but, you know, the majority of people don't. So I do just like to keep it on the shorter side, so it's more pleasant for more people, I suppose. And yeah, so this is the little allotment area, I guess you could call it. It's not really a proper allotment. It's not got like, you know, the glass greenhouses and everything. It's just a little decoration area, just to kind of fill up the space a little bit, because I wasn't really too sure what to do with it. But I just have a few bee boxes there, the garden arrangement table, and also a few planter boxes and a seating area. Now, I did actually, like, some of the houses have their own garden spaces, so I think the first house we worked on just have its own kind of flower arrangement table, and then I think 1 or 2 houses has its own planter boxes as well, but nothing too like extreme, not like any greenhouses or anything in their own houses. But that's it for today's build. I really hope you enjoyed. In the comment section down below, let me know about what you thought of it. If you have any more suggestions for builds or mansions or anything else you want to see next, that'll be really helpful to hear. Leave a like, share and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!